quick little message right here, there's going to be 2 episodes remaining, the Tomb Raiser and the 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘀. Obviously next episode is going to be on the Tomb Raiser, and then afterwards on the finale is going to be on the 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘀. So stay tuned for all of those videos. Make sure to drop a like since it does help me out more than you think, and also 82% of the viewers that actually watch this channel are not subscribed. If you fall into that 82%, make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 4.7k. Now, enjoy the 40k PR video on the Gunslinger. Welcome to the 40k PR project. This time around, I will be going over my Gunslinger. Here's going to be my power rank and my stats. My gear is going to be a full crystal level 4 set with attack speed and movement speed on all pieces of gear. My ring is going to be a crystal level 3 with energy regeneration. Orkin is going to be my ally because of movement speed. Permanent torch is the torch that I will be using on every single class. Free range electrolytic crystal as my food because easy 300 light. Arcane and Chronomatic as my emblem. Arcane because of damage, Chronomatic because of cooldown reduction. I actually was using Trailblazing or Chronomatic, but Trailblazing was a little bit less efficient for my own Gunslinger at my current stats, so I stick with Chronomatic emblem. 𝗘𝘃𝗲𝗿𝘆 is going to be my Flask because I do have high magic find, and the personal song Bard subclass because it's the best speed farming subclass in the game. My empowered gem abilities are going to be as follows: Spirit Surge, Class Gem, Mire Mojo, and Berserk Battler. Alright, so both Spirit Surge and Mire Mojo, I just have them because of stats. Class Gem is going to be pretty obvious because it's very important on every single class, especially the Gunslinger, and Berserk Battler because I don't have a lot of Vampire and Vanquisher, and Berserk Battler works well with this class since the Class Gem does reduce your attack speed whenever you do have the ultimate ability active, and Berserk Battler just gives you attack speed and also gives you light, which honestly doesn't matter a lot in 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘀, but it is what it is. Here's going to be my Star Shard build. I already made a video regarding my Star Shard build, so if you want to just go ahead and check it out in my reasoning and why do I use all of those nodes, then I'll leave that in the description down below. Now, onto my custom combination. My custom is going to be the Tombstone Tempest, which is going to be a custom that you can get from the Trovesaurus website, only if there's a code available. As of right now, there is no codes available, so you have to wait until they just add more. And no, I don't know whenever they do add more, it's just randomly. Anyways, the hairstyle is going to be the level 30 Gunslinger hairstyle, which is going to be pretty obvious on where you get it. And the weapon style is going to be the Inner Fire, which is going to be a Vault style weapon, which it means that only you can get it from style stashes, super style stashes, and gun style stashes that you can craft in the rune crafting bench. Now, that's going to be everything that I do have equipped on my Gunslinger. Now, how does the Gunslinger fare in 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘀? Well, not great. Even though this Gunslinger is going to be before the rework actually doesn't really help out with the actual problem that the character already has, since all the rework did was just increase the damage for the most part. And the damage is not the main problem on this class. The main problem on the Gunslinger is going to be that it's just very reliant on a 10-second ultimate ability, which is not great considering that it means that you have to constantly spam Flask to maintain your ultimate ability, and unless you are someone that does refill Flask quite consistently like myself with high magic find 𝗘𝘃𝗲𝗿𝘆, then it is just not going to be sustainable for pretty much most players, and it is a problem since it's the main thing that the Gunslinger is going to be good at, is the ultimate ability, because in your ultimate ability your burst damage is really high, and when you're in your ultimate ability you don't lose movement speed whenever you do shoot, so similar to Ice Age, Fae, and 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘀, there's not going to be any drawback by holding down your basic attack when you're in your ultimate ability, which is great for deleting enemies, maintaining movement speed buff, and combine that with high burst damage, which is very important for 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘀, is just going to feel very good whenever you have your ultimate ability. But once again, 10 seconds of duration, 40 seconds of cooldown. And the thing is, it's going to be similar to the Dino Tamer. If you're not in your ultimate ability, then the class is just going to be mediocre at best. But the thing is, with the Dino Tamer's ultimate ability, the Class Gem ultimate ability lasts for 24 seconds, which is very easy to maintain. But despite all of that, you still need Chronomatic Emblem. But that's why like Dino Tamer feels a lot better, because the timer is 24 seconds versus Gunslinger's 10 seconds. And the second problem is going to be that this class has slow fall attached to it. And even though post rework you can actually just press a dodge to cancel the slow fall, the fact of the matter is that it's still there, which is not good. Since I've said this several times, especially in something like the float like a butterfly in the hidden effect on the Neon Ninja, slow falling doesn't work with speed farming. Slow and speed doesn't work together. That's essentially going to be the same thing with the Gunslinger. Now, let's go over some of the numbers with the class without the ultimate ability, so you can actually see that the class is really not that great outside of the ultimate ability. Let's start off with the basic attack, and I'll just be blunt. This is a bad basic attack. 1.2 times damage, 1.6 times damage multiplier after the rework, which is going to be low for both pre and post rework. 2.5 base attacks per second, making it the second fastest basic attack in the game. If you are at maximum attack speed, just behind the Shadow Hunter and ahead of the Knight. It is going to be single target on a 29 block range. The fact is going to be that it is single target, it's low damage, which is just bad with nothing to show for outside of obviously the speed being 2.5 base attacks per second, but that speed alone doesn't make it a good basic attack. Let's take the Shadow Hunter for example. The Shadow Hunter does 2 times damage multiplier with the class gem and attacks 12 attacks per second. It has 40 block range, and the damage can be increased with the passive ability by 5%, and the explosion from the passive ability also gives you an extra 1 times damage multiplier. Combine that with this being a basic attack, the only basic attack that you can shoot through walls, and some players still say that this is a low damaging basic attack. So this one being lower damage, slower, with less range, and doesn't have anything special, you can quickly see why this is bad. And before you mention that the passive ability gives you a fully charged shot if you do hit it with the basic attack, the passive ability works for any damage source, so not just the basic attack, so you can just literally just throw a bomb and you can get the passive ability, so it's not special with the basic attack. Overall, pretty bad basic attack. Speaking of the charge shot, this is going to be your first ability, and so I really don't need to go over the numbers since I went over all of the numbers on my 12-minute breakdowns on the rework. But TLDR is a charge ability that does a maximum of 6 times damage multiplier before the rework and 13 times damage after the rework, which is a lot of damage by the way. 13 times damage is a lot. And it also charges much faster for I believe it's 1.3 seconds to 0.8 to fully maxed out. But it's still not a great ability because it's a charging ability. In this moment in Trove, if you want an ability to be good, it needs to be either instant cast ability or really quick in order for you to activate, with little to no cooldown and be high enough damage to warrant the downtime that the ability is going to have. That's why having a good basic attack is also really good, or a very spammable ability with high damage is also very good in U11. So stuff like Spirit Squire, I-Beam, and all of those type of abilities that are just very spammable and they do high damage and they have no cooldown. This one, even though it does not have a cooldown, you still have to charge it for you to actually just do the damage, which is a big of a problem. And not only that, whenever you're just charging your charge shot, you're moving at, I believe it's 40 or 60% or something like that. You lose a lot of movement whenever you're charging. So it is not an ability that you can just hold it down and just keep running at 100%, which is another problem. Which brings us to the next ability, Blast Jump. So this ability is very close to being quite decent. It's a no cooldown 6 times damage multiplier ability with pretty fast animation, and also has a really good crowd control on a 4x5 radius. But it does cost 65 energy, but it is a lot, not gonna lie, but it can be mitigated with energy regeneration. However, the fact is that it gives you slow fall whenever you do hit or miss an enemy. And that's a problem, considering that the slow fall is 2 seconds before the rework or 3.25 seconds after the rework, which of course you can just cancel out by just using a dodge. But the thing is that the slow fall makes the ability just feel much worse than it really is. Outside of the ultimate ability is your only good ability for dungeon, but it is tainted by sending you upwards and giving you a slow fall that is just going to make you take an unnecessary amount of time. If the slow fall gets removed, then this ability becomes quite decent, since it does have a pretty good damage while having a good radius, no cooldown, and the energy cost can be mitigated just by using energy regeneration, which is the reason why I will probably just only recommend you to use this ability on something like Cursed Skulls, because on Cursed Skull it does have enough radius for you to hit enemies as soon as they spawn, so it will allow you to just spawn kill enemies inside Cursed Skulls. And if you wanted just to use the ultimate ability on either bosses or maintaining movement speed buff. But Blast Jump is just going to be a good ability for Cursed Skulls. Speaking of the ultimate ability, Run and Gun with the class gem Overcharge. And this is what makes the Gunslinger, well, the Gunslinger. Everyone wants to spam the ultimate ability and just destroy everything. Everyone knows how this ultimate ability works. You activate it, and for the next 10 seconds, your basic attack is just a maxed out level charge shot with a 25% reduced attack speed only if you do have the class gem ability equipped. The damage is going to be either 6 times damage before the rework, 7.75 times damage multiplied after the rework, since it's going to be your basic attack and it combines with your charge shot. Then it has the range of the basic attack at 29 blocks, it has the base attacks per second at 2.5, and it has the radius of the maxed out charge shot, which is going to be a 5 block radius, which is a lot. And another thing is going to be when you're in your ultimate ability, you don't lose your movement speed whenever you're shooting. And to top it all of it, you also gain a plus 20 base movement speed. This is the reason I changed Trailblazing with Chronomatic Emblem, because both of them grants the same amount of movement speed, and might as well just use the ultimate ability, which is the only thing that the character is just good at. So I much rather just sacrifice Trailblazing than sacrificing more consistent ultimate ability. Obviously, I'm not the one to tell you how good this actually is for the Gunslinger and how good this ability really is. It's just obvious. It makes the character just the Gunslinger. If you want to be in your ultimate ability as much as possible, or use your ultimate ability on bosses, since Blast Jump can cover the Cursed Skulls. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the abilities on the Gunslinger. So you can actually just tell that pretty much all of the abilities have either like really big drawbacks except the ultimate ability, but the ultimate ability on a 10-second timer, 40-second cooldown. So here's going to be some final thoughts. The character is just pretty bad in dungeons. It's not necessarily because it does low damage or it has terrible crowd control. As a matter of fact, it has really good crowd control, and the damage is pretty good because it's a burst damage character, and burst damage is really good for U11. This just that the character without the ultimate ability, you have to rely on an ability that gives you slow fall, which is Blast Jump. Especially if you are in a really enclosed dungeon, whenever you activate Blast Jump, you're going to hit like your every single block, and it's super annoying to deal with. Not to mention that ranged enemies will hit you in midair and will cause a lot of knockback, especially if you do have slow fall, because it means that you will be bouncing out everywhere outside of the dungeon. And the ultimate ability is great on paper, but it only lasts for 10 seconds, which means that you have to spam Flask like crazy just to maintain movement speed buff or just to maintain the ultimate ability. And yes, you can just use the purple little food or cooldown reduction allies, but those either lower your damage, which can be the difference between you one-shotting enemies in Cursed Skull or not with the Blast Jump, and cooldown reduction ally, it means that you're losing a movement speed ally, which is plus 30 movement speed, and those are some of the bigger increases for any type of character in terms of movement speed buff, and it's just going to make the character just run that much slower if you go into a cooldown reduction ally rather than a movement speed ally like Orchid. And yeah, it's literally 1 or 2 changes away from being a decent dungeon class, but as of right now, pre or post rework, is still one of the worst classes in the game for dungeons as of right now. But that's going to be everything for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking as always. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe for more content like this. There's 2 episodes remaining, like I just mentioned before. The next episode will be on the Tomb Raiser. I'll just say this once again. This is just going to be my own personal opinion. You can just list your own personal opinion on the character in the comment section down below. But that's all for me for today. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting, and this has been the 40k PR video on the Gunslinger.